It's time for another good deeds card. And this one reads, pick up a large bag of cat or dog food to donate to a local animal shelter. This is a good idea. I once volunteered at an animal shelter a long time ago. I was a teen, and I was doing that to collect time, I guess, like I explained on my soup kitchen video, I think it was, for logging that I have been doing volunteer work that I can put on my resume so that I can put as references for college applications, but also because since I was so into the sciences, I was thinking about doing a major in geology with a minor in meteorology, but then I thought what I really should do is a major in geology and minor in biology. Or maybe the other way around, a major in biology with a minor in geology. No, it needs to be a double major of biology and geology with a minor in meteorology. Fuck that. I really thought I was going to be some science goddess, something like that. But looking back, it was just such a silly idea. But what I remember about that animal shelter is that I only got to feed the dogs. I didn't get to walk them, and that made me sad because I thought, here I am with this bod, especially this bod at the time that needed a lot of exercise. All I could do with them was pretty much play with them. It wasn't even that big of a space if you ask me, but play some kind of fetch game with them. And I thought it was nice that I got to hang out with dogs, but it just made me sad that my experience was really limited. I don't know if it was because I was under 18 at the time, if that's a policy or something they have or what, but looking back, that is something that I would consider doing like one weekend. I can see myself doing that before I go to a soup kitchen, to be honest. When it comes to donating food and stuff, I like to find out what it is that a shelter needs before anything, because one of my friends was telling me this. A lot of the times people will drop off items that are useful, sure, but sometimes the greater need isn't a completely unrelated item. Say, for people shelters, people love to drop off things like clothes and food, and all that is great. But especially for women, feminine products. This is something that my friend was saying. And I'm like, you know what? You are so right. Because back in the day, I thought about that. If I were to try to live a life without any money at all, like I'm dead ass 100% completely homeless, I would have trouble figuring out what to do about my period, because there's just absolutely nothing I can do to stop it. But sometimes I think maybe I'll be malnourished enough to where it just shuts the fuck down, as fucked up as that sounds. But hey, biology, science, things can happen to this thing where you start missing cycles. And I know that when you're physically messed up, that tends to be one of the first things to go. But yeah, I think that this is a great idea, dropping off food at a animal shelter. And although the card says cat or dog food, I want to do cat and dog food. But sometimes I think that places like that, they're really not running short on those things, because people just hear about animals needing things and they just open up and want to be the most giving. Just like during the holidays, everybody is dropping off stuff at food banks. Post-production Zam here. I guess I could also add that in a sense I already give back to animals, because I used to buy bird food, or rather mom used to buy it and I would help her scatter it around. I also try to leave just a tiny bit of residue after I'm done eating, and that's something that I learned from my 4th grade math teacher. Actually, he was a really religious guy, and he said every time you're done eating, try to leave behind some residue. That was the word he used. As opposed to saying leftovers, it was residue. He was explaining that you never know who or what out there can make use of it. And the example he used was something like, you can leave a little bit of rice behind, a little bit of your grains behind, stuff like that. And then I thought, but it's not very good or sanitary to do that, because this can make someone sick if they eat it. And then he said, it doesn't matter. It's just the act of leaving something behind for someone or something to find. That's all that matters. And it didn't make sense, but now when I think back to wild animals and the amount of things that they can actually eat, I'm like, they don't care. They're not choosing. They really can go for anything. And it looks like they can digest things well. But sometimes my concern with that is that they're attracted to things by smell. Let's say that they find pieces of rice and chicken next to a household cleaning item that, first of all, you shouldn't even be dumping in the trash like that. But let's say that this was leaking and some of it seeps into the food. Am I really being helpful, or am I being more damaging? See what I mean? I don't mean to be such a critical thinker of the negative, but I'm just trying to be considerate of how a well-intended act can have bad consequences. I don't think that's harmful to consider. For a while, I was buying things that I know birds could eat, and I was just scattering it on my backyard. And for the longest time, we had food in our trunk during the cooler seasons for any cats or dogs that we may find on the streets. We don't do that anymore. I wish we did. That's something that maybe I should consider getting back to. But I also feel bad because I know that animals like that are always going to be picked up by animal control. And sometimes I just feel bad that I might be luring them out. And I don't know. Just some stories for this entry. But yeah, this is a great idea. I'm gonna do this. And if I remember, when I do this, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna record it. I'm going to show myself buying it and driving to the place and dropping it off, but I don't think I'll be able to have footage of me exactly doing that. But as part of my journal entry, or I guess I should say digital journal entry, I want to do that. So yeah, good idea. All right, you guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know if you have personal experiences with animal shelters, and I'll see you soon.